In a world where Premiere Pro was the program of choice, where the notion of free time remains a myth, comes a story of 4 filmmakers who united together. Entrusted with the delivery of a monster assignment, burdened with dysfunctional equipment, they turned to the one place where their brief could be executed. And now, they must capture Grahamstown through the eyes of 4 upstarters, starring Nomatlabiso Dianti, who tells it like it is, Tlabiso Mnyamana, the next great leader from Joza, Sinati Kom, with ambitions to join the South African Defense Force, and a lady with a clean-cut image, Beauty Boy. The filmmakers sweated. They cried. They crashed. And burned. And resorted to desperate measures. They never imagined what could happen.
And then, it was only at the end that I realized the internal mic was never switched on.
And then, just as I was about to export, the power cut.
TVJ, whisper, Patty, hate it so much. And then, after 5 hours of editing, putting together a 5-minute sequence, there was no audio.
This is their story.
One of the biggest challenges I faced with the Upstart process was communication and trying to get in touch with Nomek Labiso, because we would set up filming times and she just wouldn't arrive and no one would know where she was, and her phone would be off for days and I couldn't get in touch with her. And so the filming process became quite strenuous because we actually were starting to run out of time. But I think once a relationship was built between the two of us and there was an understanding and I could get on, mix it and chat to her frequently, it became a lot better. So it was just the initial few days where Minette and I often just pitched up at her place and she actually just wasn't there. As we got more and more involved in the process and kept going back to Joza community and to her house, her mom got very involved in it, and her cousin and all of her friends helped us out in making the video, and you kind of just saw how this enthusiasm grew around this video, and it was very enriching to see as a filmmaker, because it was making a difference, even if it was just in a small way. People were getting excited about this, and isn't that ultimately what our aim was? I thought the process was a really great experience. It really gave me an opportunity to see how collaborative journalism and participatory video works, and I think working with Minette, Debbie and La was actually really great, because you got all these different ideas and all these different perspectives, and it wasn't just this one-minded view. And also working with the Upstarter was, for me, really great, because you saw things that maybe you making a documentary on your own wouldn't have seen. So I thought the process was very enriching, and if we had more time, I think a lot more could have come out of it. But for the time that we did have, I really think that we stretched to its limits, and it was really great.
It was very interesting working with somebody from the Grahamstown community, especially like a young person, because it's kind of like, in a way, like this whole time in Grahamstown we've just been like doing stories about them and not like giving back. But this was like an opportunity to like give back to somebody from Grahamstown, have like a direct impact in somebody's life. One of my biggest challenges was the language barrier, because Sinati is Xhosa and I'm Sotho. So now I kind of can understand like Xhosa, but then I can't speak it back. So I couldn't I think he felt like he needed to speak English with me, but then I kept telling him like, you don't have to, and then I wouldn't hear him sometimes. But then when he was like interviewing like his friends and like the caretaker, he spoke in Xhosa, and like he was like more free that way. But then with me and with the interviews as well, he'd speak English, and I kept telling him you don't have to. And like he like articulates better when he's speaking like his home language. So I think that was another challenge. And like when I was trying to like explain to the caretaker what to do, I'd like tell Sanati to tell him, and then like he'd speak back to Sanati, and I'd say, but I can hear. But then he keeps forgetting because he's not like, we're not really communicating directly. So I think that was one of the biggest challenges. Yeah.
I think that specifically my partner that was paired up, Kabiso, from the beginning he was really positive and really excited about this project, which was really nice. He was very keen and very excited to learn about the camera and to know how things work. So he did a bit of filming himself, like he took the camera and he interviewed his friends and he interviewed me. So that was really nice, and it was nice to see, yes, how the stuff that we learn in media studies and whatever, how it actually in the real world is applicable.
Sorry, what is your name?
My name is Samgelisiwe Vatela.
Okay. Tell us a little bit more further about you.
I don't know what you're talking about now.
Khasixelele ngawe efundini ba usuka phi, uhlala phi, ungowaphi?
Okay. I live in Joza location. My mother's name is Vyogazi, and my father's name is Vuyo.
So Vyogazi and Vuyo quite similar. Okay, go on. So you're nervous?
Yes, I'm nervous.
Okay. Just feel free, man. Don't be scared of the camera. It's not gonna bite you.
There were quite a lot of stuff that we couldn't anticipate. Michelle and I once Kabiso had an interview that we went with, and there was a drunk man on the scene, and we just had to deal with it. It teaches you to think on your feet and to, again, become aware of how things work in the real world, which was quite good, I suppose, at the end, but also scary. At the beginning of the project, when we were still talking about ideas and whatever, Kabiso said to me that he actually stutters quite a lot. And initially, I didn't really think it was actually such a big problem, but there are times where he stutters really, really badly. What do you think about your school?
I think that is like man, I hate stuttering.
Especially in editing, it was tricky for me to get like natural reactions from him, because every time we had to retake something, obviously it wouldn't be natural anymore if we had to retake it. And also it was difficult for him because he's quite frustrated when that happens. So that was a bit difficult. I was the driver of my group, which at times was quite difficult. I know that logistically it's quite difficult to organize something like this, but it was difficult at times having to make space for another 3 people's timetables into yours. But I think at the end of the day, I had a very nice group that I worked with, and we all got along very well, which was really nice, and it made a big difference. I think it wouldn't have been as nice if we didn't get along.
Well, one of the biggest difficulties was communication and planning of certain events. because we had to rely on, well, in my piece I had to rely on a lot of different people, it was difficult to plan with them because we had so many different schedules that we had to work with. That was definitely a big challenge. And also traveling, because it's difficult. It's difficult to like find time in your own schedule to be able to go up to wherever you need to go, like transit camp and whatnot, in order to film, and it's like 3-hour shoots straight. So that was definitely a difficulty, but something that I managed to like get around in the end.
Covering his face because he's come 3 times.
Well, definitely one of the most positive things that I can take from this experience is the relationship that we got to build with our upstarters. It definitely had its ups and downs, but I think in the end product and the work that we did together, I think Beauty and I, we got quite a cool relationship going on. We're driving through Joza, and as we turn into the main road, I think it's Nampondo Road, we turned in and we saw a whole lot of people walking on the road towards us, and they had a banner up and everything, and it seemed quite peaceful, but we thought it was a protest. So being the journalists we are, I got out of the car and got the camera and started rolling, and as the people got closer, the banner turned out to say in memory of a certain person. So I video recorded a funeral procession.
But one question remains. Where is Minette's number plate?